friends, welcome to Tarun IS. Today we will be discussing daily current affairs of 4th of November 2022. So let's start with the first news of the day. The first news is about the ballistic missile which has been successfully test fired from Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam Island. The phase 2 of the ballistic missile defense system with the name BMD-81 missile. So this is the image that you can look at here. What is it? Now let us discuss briefly about the BMD-81 system. Basically, it is a long-range interceptor missile. What do we mean by the interceptor missile? Interceptor missile are basically for the neutralization purpose of the target missile. Neutralization. Suppose this is the incoming missile from the aggressor or from the rival party. This is the incoming missile, and the interceptor missile such as AD-1 will neutralize it as it has been designed. If it has been designed to intercept it both within the atmosphere or outside the atmosphere. So therefore, this interceptor missile which has been designed by DRDO, it is both a low exo-atmospheric and endo-atmospheric interception of long-range ballistic missiles as aircraft. So it can neutralize the target outside the atmosphere as well as inside the atmosphere. Other specificity of the missile is that it is a two-stage solid motor and it is equipped with an indigenously developed advanced control system, navigation and guidance algorithm. The next news about is the fertilizers. Center recently has doubled the fertilizer subsidy as prices see a surge. What happened? The prices of the fertilizers have increased. India does not produce enough fertilizers for the utilization by the farmers. Therefore, India has to import fertilizers. In fact, the raw component of the fertilizers. Thus, in order to make the fertilizers which is in high demand by the farmers, for the affordability to the farmers, the center provides subsidy, the fertilizer subsidy to the farmer. Now recently the cabinet has approved the subsidy of rupees 51,875 crore for nitrogen, phosphorus and potash, which is NPK fertilizer, the most used fertilizer. And the phosphate, we import phosphate in the form of muriate phosphate. And we have DAP which we import. So thus, in order to make it affordable, the center has approved the subsidy. Now let us look at what the fertilizer means. Basically, fertilizer can be organic and they can be inorganic, and they are artificially or naturally provided for the growth of the plants. Now the plants requires micronutrients and macronutrients. We know that in India we have different varieties of the soil. Some soils are rich in certain organic and inorganic substance. Some of the soil are deficient in some of the organic and inorganic substance. For example, the forest soil. Forest soil is deficient in nitrogen. It is rich in humus, but it is deficient in nitrogen because of the slow decomposition process due to the humid conditions. Thus, in order to provide the soil with enough nutrients, fertilizers are provided. So basically they are sort of nutrients to the plant for its development and growth. Now Government of India has been regulating the sale price and quality of the fertilizers because it is in high demand by the farmers. And if we look at the farmers census, then more than 80% of the farmers are small and marginal. So capitalization in Indian agrarian sector is very low. So in order to make the agriculture more affordable and income generating for the farmers, so Government of India has various ways. One of the ways to double the income of the farmers is to provide them fertilizer subsidy. So the Government of India has declared fertilizers as the essential commodity under the Fertilizer Control Order under the Essential Commodities Act of 1957. Now let's talk about one important policy of the government of India, that is the nutrient based subsidy policy of 2010. Now what happens in this, the government basically fixes this subsidy on an annual basis as per the weight of the different macro micronutrients, NPKs, etc. contained in the fertilizers. Manufacturers, marketers, etc., they are allowed to fix the maximum retail price at a reasonable level. What happens, the marketers and manufacturers, they have to fix this maximum retail price. So, and the government of India provides subsidy to these manufacturers and marketers. Now what happens if say for example, the fertilizer, one bag of fertilizers cost 100 rupees per kg, for example this. Now this is the maximum price at which a manufacturer can sell the fertilizer in the market. If even though the international price of the fertilizers is about 500 rupees, 500 like dollars, in it will be in dollars, but I am telling you in rupees just for the illustration purpose, it will be rupees 500 per kg. So in order for the farmer to buy it at rupees 100 per kg, the government is going to provide the 400 rupees as subsidy to these manufacturers and marketers. Therefore, whatever may be the international price surge in the fertilizers, the manufacturers and marketers have to fix their fertilizer price at a certain level. That means if it is 100 rupees per kg, it will be 100 rupees per kg, irrespective of the price irrespective of the increase in the price in the international market. All right. So this is what we mean by fixing the MRP, right? So let's move on. Now the third news of the day is about the Pahari community, that recently the Pahari ethnic community of Jammu and Kashmir has been added to the scheduled tribe list. So this proposal was also greenlit by the National Scheduled Tribe Commission, and the proposal also includes other communities from the Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir, the Padari tribe, the Koli, and the Gadda Brahmin tribe. Now, what happened? Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir, there is linguistic ethnic diversity. So there is linguistic diversity in the Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir. There are Gaddis, there are Bakarwals, there is Dogri community, the Dogri speaking, there is Gojri speaking community, the Pahari speaking community, and Kashmiri speaking community. So various communities exist in the Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir speaking different language, and in the Union Territory of Ladakh, Ladakhi is spoken. For example, Balti is also spoken in the Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir. So there was a demand from the Pahari community to be for them to be added to the scheduled tribe list, and now this has been given by the center. Now let us look at the provisions with respect to the scheduled tribes in our constitution, and we would also look into that how the inclusion and the exclusion takes place in the list. So according to the Article 366, which is provided in the constitution, which says the scheduled tribes in accordance with the Article 342. So the definition of the scheduled tribe is given in the Article 366, and it says it has to be read along with Article 342. Now let us say what this Article 342 says. Now according to the Article 342, the scheduled tribes are basically the tribes or the tribal communities as part or group within these tribes and tribal communities which have been declared as such by the President through a public notification. So President passes a presidential order which declares a particular community as either a scheduled caste community or a scheduled tribe community. In this case, it is scheduled tribe community. Now let's look at the procedure for the inclusion. So basically the government of India constitutes a committee to look into the matter of inclusion of a particular community into the scheduled tribe list, and in this case D.D. Sharma community along with the report by the Registrar General of India. So this report is then submitted to the state and the central government. In this case, the Union Territory of J&K, the Legislative Assembly of the Union Territory of J&K. In this case, it would be. So the report is then submitted to the state and the central government. If the government accepts the report, then the community is included in the list via the presidential order. In fact, the parliament can also do so. The parliament can also include the community in the list. However, the president alone cannot include or exclude a community from the list. The president has only the responsibility of declaring the community as scheduled tribe via the presidential order, and not empowered with the authority of including and excluding the community. So in this context, let us look at the National Commission for Scheduled Tribes then. Basically, National Commission for Scheduled Tribe is a constitutional body which is constituted under the Article 338A, established by the 89th Constitution Amendment Act of 2003. Now, what happened until this amendment, the matters related with the scheduled tribes were dealt with the National Commission. There was one commission for the scheduled tribe and scheduled caste. However, post 2004, the commission was bifurcated into two different commissions: the National Commission for Scheduled Tribes and the National Commission for Scheduled Caste. And article was inserted in the Constitution as Article 338 dealing with the scheduled caste and Article 338A dealing with the scheduled tribes. And we have Alright, so this is what. So let's look at the composition of the commission then. It consists of a chairperson, a vice chairperson, and 3 other members are there. The functions of the commission includes investigation and monitoring all the matters which are related with safeguarding provisions of the scheduled tribe given in the Constitution of India. It also looks into the specific complaints, and it also has the power of suo motu action. It also advises the government on the socio-economic development of the scheduled tribes, and it also presents an annual report to the president and as and when the president demands. The next news of the day is about the Harit Aaykar initiative. Now, why this is in news? On the day of the National Unity Day, that was the birth of the Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, so Income Tax Department had launched this Harit Aaykar initiative. Let's look at what this scheme is about. It was launched by the Central Board of Direct Taxes. Basically, it aims at increasing the green cover by planting trees and creating a microforest in and around income tax department's building and other public areas. So wherever there is an income tax department and other public areas, microforests are going to be generated. Microforests are to be formed by planting trees. Now, what are these microforests? We will discuss. So first such microforest has been formed, and it has been in fact inaugurated near the Atari border in Punjab. So what are these microforests? You can look at the image of this microforest in Punjab near the Atari border that has been recently inaugurated. So what are these microforests? Basically, it is a small planted forest with maximum tree density and biodiversity. Basically, it requires planting a wide variety of plants in a fairly dense manner, so that a plot of land has different layers of a forest, such as shrubs, canopies, and not just the trees. So basically, you can relate this with the Miyawaki technique that we had discussed yesterday in our current affairs, that how the Miyawaki techniques, which was developed by Japanese botanist Dr. Akira Miyawaki, to create a dense patch of forest in the urban area. So basically, the microforest creation depends upon this technique, and in which different variety of plants are compactly planted so as to create a dense forest and with different layers of canopy. The plant basically requires 8 to 9 months to grow, and in order to reach a stage of sustainable self-sustaining stage. So this is the picture. The next news is about the global climate observing system. Now what happens, this global climate observing system, according to the declaration by the global climate observing system, the climate observing system remains fragile and it needs financing for strengthening and sustaining it. Now what is this global climate observing system? So basically, it's a sort of a system that monitors the climate change, that monitors the emission of the gases, etc. and etc. So as to look into so as to have assessment of how the climate has been changing over the period of time. The program is basically co-sponsored, which regularly assess the status of the global climate observation, and it produces guidance for its improvement. Now, what is it? There are certain organizations which are involved in this global climate observing system, and these are the World Meteorological Organization, the IOC of UNESCO, and United Nations Environment Program, and International Science Council. So these are the four organizations which are involved in establishing the global climate observing system. Now let's discuss a little about this system. Basically, it consists of an expert panels that maintains the definition of the essential climate variables which are required to systematically observe Earth's changing climate. Now, what are these essential climate variables? There are certain parameters which are decided by the system so as to monitor the climate change over a period of time. These parameters could be the global carbon emission. These parameters could be the particulate matters for assessing the air quality. These parameters could also include the melting of ice and seeing the sea level rise. So these could be certain parameters which can be described as the essential climate variables that so as to monitor the changing climate. The observations supported by the GCOS, it contributes to solving challenges in the climate research and also underpins the climate services and the adaptation measures in the coming years. So that's it for today. Thank you so much for watching Karuna Eyes. Have a nice day.